Morning.
How's it going, Coach?
Going good?
Good. Is Zen sleeping in today? You're muted. He's in here.
Yeah, hold on. I'm just putting it in our chat real quick.
Oh, yeah. Okay, you remind me. I got to put the YouTube in the chat.
Yo, Coach, you there? Coach. All right, I don't need you to answer my question. TGZ, you there?
He's dropping a link in the chat.
1 second. I'm just. All right, I got a question. I'm sure you guys could hear me, and you can answer it when you get a chance. So we were speaking in a chat that I'm in, and we were speaking about PDI and pTGC. Now, my argument is always going to be pTGC over anything and everything, because I can hold all this other stuff, but it's not paying me no kind of rewards, no kind of reflections, no kind of nothing, unless if I'm LPing it, right? So, and then somebody tried to say that there wasn't that much LP with PDI, and I almost just lost my shit. I almost flipped out, bro. And I was like, there's over 100 million PDI that was injected into that LP. So I just wanted to get a more exact number of how much PDI we actually put into that pool with pTGC.
Can we find that on Deck Screener?
Yeah, it fluctuates. It fluctuates, so as these prices move,
right? Okay,
they fix.
True.
So I know Zen would know firsthand, though, how much PDI he's put into that thing, and I know it's over 100 million. So. Yeah, I actually don't even know the exact number that we've put into it over time, but we can look into the pair right now and see how many PDI are in that pTGC pool. There's also quite a bit of UFO or PDI in the UFO pool as well, which also bonds our ecosystem with PDI as well. Yeah, and that's the biggest pool for UFO, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yeah, besides pTGC itself, it's the biggest pool. Yeah, I actually think it's become a form of a backbone for the PDI ecosystem, because due to us being tied to it, when they have their sell-offs, our system, I think, kind of acts in a form of support as well at this point, due to the fact that we have become decently large, to where it's not necessarily so much the tail wagging the dog at this point. It's kind of like we're acting as almost more similars, right? Or equals, because we're becoming more equal in size. And I think we're actually helping support the system as well. I would say we can make that argument for the whole damn chain, bro. As prices go up, and as our liquidity keeps growing, I sometimes question if RH will keep incentivizing liquidity to be pooled via the farms, or if he'll pool liquidity via the farms once he starts pumping the chain up. And I actually wonder how close our liquidity pools with these RH tickers will be to the main liquidity pool, right? The main liquidity pool is usually with PLS. So you'll look at Hex PLS or PLSX Hex. And currently we're pretty far away. I think we're probably a 10x or so away from being equal. But as we keep ratcheting up and adding if their liquidity keeps getting pooled, we might start becoming somewhat close or closer. Yeah, bro. All we need is time, really.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, morning, guys.
Good morning.
How are you?
Well, I'm doing good.
Excellent. Have you guys heard of Coast?
Yes. That's the on-ramp and on-ramp, right?
Yeah,
For PulseChain.
It's the only, as far as I know, it's the only native stablecoin on PulseChain, if I'm correct.
Okay.
The one that was built for PulseChain.
I think it's also an on-ramp and off-ramp system.
Correct. Yeah, it's how they're getting money into PulseChain.
Yes.
I just have a question. So, from my understanding of Coast itself, the only way it stays stable is based on buy and sell pressure. If you look at their actual chart, it does have like wicks on the stable. Is there, because it's currently the only native stable coin, would there be any benefit to us as a community pairing that pTGC or UFO with Coast because of that slight volatility it has all the time, even for onboarding into pTGC via that on-ramp? Just a thought. I personally think that there should be a decent move here on PulseChain. It seems like RH is ramping up to do a decent move here on PulseChain. And if we have pairings with stable coins, yeah, we will be able to bounce off of them as far as market making goes. But I do think they will be a form of an anchor moving into what I believe is going to be a nice bull market for PulseChain. But definitely when we get let's say a decent chunk of X's on the PulseChain market, it will make sense for us to start looking at what we believe is the best stable coin on chain and starting to create a liquidity pool with that stable coin if we don't have one already. So essentially, if Richard doesn't if he doesn't have a stable coin, PDI pegs, we all hope it pegs, and it looks like it's in the cards, I guess, if you're a believer. But then you just turn around and start looking for actual stable coins then. Okay. Yeah, I do think as time goes on, there will be some clarity on RH's side of like what he thinks is a good store of value on chain going into the bear market. I wouldn't think he would put out a blockchain without this solution figured out. If that's a native stablecoin that he's a part of and yet to be released, or if that's a native stablecoin that's here already, just not pegged yet, or maybe he just wants us to use the forked in Ethereum copies, or not copies, just not forked in Ethereum, the bridged in Ethereum stables. I'm hoping there is some clarity so we're not just having to throw darts at a board, because that's, I think, one of the main goals with the funds that we get is to make proactive decisions that do have a good risk to reward ratio, but with also, doing our due diligence on putting those funds into a good direction as well. Gotcha. And as of right now, I think no one knows what the native stable coin is going to be. There is the speculation of PDI, and obviously we took a pretty decent position in that as far as the system goes. And I still need to look up for Googled how much PDI we have in those pools. But to keep in mind, when that was created was in the really, really early stages of that narrative. So we've already gotten to ride that thing up, 10, 20 X's from where those pools were necessarily created. So even if they draw down a little bit here or there, we're already up on the position, so we've already gotten some free gains. So now it's, I was kind of talking about earlier, we've kind of generated that money back already. So now we just have this machine that's generating value for us for the rest of PulseChain's existence. And that's how I look at these liquidity pools. Obviously, we don't want to like pair with stuff that are anchors and aren't moving up with us or aren't moving up at all. But if we can create a pairing and that pairing can pay for itself via volume and volatility, and we get paid back via APY, rewards, buy and burn, LP, we just get paid back in general. Well, once we're paid back, we now own that liquidity leg forever, and we can generate value off of that liquidity leg forever, and it's already paid us back. So then we could then go take that value that we were paid back with and make another liquidity leg or buy and burns, or, you know, APY technically is part of the transaction fee as well. But the bigger we can get this web with kind of utilizing the same funds or partially the same funds, just keep adding more legs or adding more buy and burns, we can just get bigger in this bear market. But yeah, I think that's a good option. I really hope by the time we just get into this bull market, there is more clarity on what stable coin we are supposed to use on chain. Mm-hmm. Preferably, I would like something that RH has kind of tied his branding and his name to and his chain to. Nothing against Coast, but that still is a freshly new stable coin and a fresh group of guys.
Yeah. I mean, they're new. I wouldn't say they're new to PulseChain. I remember they've been around for a while. I remember using them early last year, if I recall, or getting on-ramped via them. But I get what you're saying. If Richard Hart does put his support behind one, it makes more sense to pair it with that one in the long term. And I like what you were saying earlier about how pTGC essentially becomes a backbone for the entire ecosystem, kind of holding up the entire floor, because we're paired with so much of all of these. It's kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah, especially the ones that don't necessarily have a farm built into them. Like currently, pDAI isn't attached to the farm of PulseX because RH didn't include it. So there is a huge liquidity pool with Atropa, right? But Atropa only has so much liquidity itself. So even though there's $20 million pairing them together as a whole, or whatever the number is today, but Atropa only has so much liquidity. Teddy Bear only has so much liquidity. So there is somewhat of, even though there's so much bonding together, there is only so much liquidity at the end of that line. And that's something people have to pay attention to. There could be tons of liquidity bonding two things together, but as you go down that road, does it become somewhat of a dead end or a lack of liquidity towards the end of that line? So I kind of like to look like we want, if we create a big pairing with something, is there also a ton of liquidity with that item besides just us? And for an example, pDAI, it does have a decent pair because there's a big community actually providing this liquidity just via V2. Like there's a decent amount of people providing pDAI with eDAI actually, and they are making money off of that market making. I think the APY is actually decent as well for just standard V2 liquidity providing. But where I'm getting at with this rant is, since there is no farm with pDAI built into it besides ours, and maybe a couple other ones that but non-RH, right? There isn't an RH farm. There isn't this massive liquidity like some of the other RH tickers have, which I think kind of makes it to where we can support that system a little bit more than the RH tokens per se.
Yeah, I gotcha. Cool. Thanks.
And obviously our UFO, for an example, is the opposite of a dead end liquidity. Like you go into UFO and literally the ratio of market cap to liquidity is over 25%. which is ultimately like unheard of in the crypto space.
Yeah, it's crazy. You look at some of those pools; they're massive.
Yeah, at the bottom of PulseChain, which is nice. So, the revaluation of PulseChain, it really could, like right now, it's like right in, I feel like in the crypto sphere, like it's unnoticed, but with a successful PulseChain with energy on PulseChain and people finally putting their eye on what this is, and if that liquidity web just keeps growing and growing, like let's say PulseChain 4x's, and we're kind of running into what we believe a good bull market, and we're kind of getting some attention from mainstream media. Well, at that time, UFO alone will be like sitting at over $100 million liquidity web, and I do believe that will start to get a lot of people's attentions because they're going to start to ask themselves, like, how is this even possible? Like, how is this 300 million market cap token have $100 million in liquidity?
It's alien tech.
It's kind of funny thinking about it. It's literally like we had an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean and no one noticed yet. But the tsunami's coming.
Yeah, that's a fun example, actually.
Oh, that's a good one. Yes. Yeah.
I think there's that saying, if a tree falls in the forest and no one's around, did it make noise?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I like that one better than the tsunami one.
Well, I've never heard the tsunami one. I know the one I just said is like a really old one.
Yeah. Well, we had an excellent interview yesterday with Brad at Infinite Crypto. And the view count on it right now is about 600. If you guys haven't watched the interview, it's in Telegram. I have it pulled up and I'm kind of watching it just to show you guys. But if you haven't watched it, go watch it, give it a thumbs up, play it all the way through, which helps the algorithm. If you stop it midway, then YouTube thinks other people will stop it midway. So even if you don't watch it, leave it running. But go give it a thumbs up and comment also. I think he's going to be an asset for not only the PulseChain, but the Grays ecosystem. He's very interested. And I think he and I are going to be chatting. I think, he lives, this is interesting, in Las Vegas. So I'll be trying to, befriend him that way and keep him looped in. But if you guys can help, watch the video and follow him on Twitter too. His Twitter handle is in the description of the video.
Yeah, I think it's good to add in, Banana, that relationship that we just started equaled a brand new onboard to PulseChain. He told us on stream or privately, I forget which one, that by him doing this interview with us, it gave him the motivation to finally bridge some value over to PulseChain and add in the PulseChain network and his community. I don't know how big it is. I think we'll kind of find that out. But whatever size that community is, they have yet to even put PulseChain on their radar. So it's a group of people that are not PulseChain people. I don't know what token or what blockchain he normally talks about, if it's Ethereum or BNB or Solana, but it's a group of people that are brand new onboards to not only pTGC and UFO, but brand new onboards to PulseChain as a whole, which, we want to be part of that process. We want to be part of making PulseChain successful alongside pTGC and UFO. So I was super excited about that, to be honest with you, Banana.
Oh, me too. I mean, we always talk about adoption, and we've done lots of interviews and there's lots of content by PulseChain people, but we're starting and we're desiring to reach out and, to these other communities, these other chains, tokens, and bring those people in over here. And he was like very excited about PulseChain and the Grays. And we emphasize that they are the, basically an index of all the best tickers over here. We emphasize that for his audience, and he's got, he has 228,000 subscribers on YouTube. So apparently he has some influence there. But yeah, it was an excellent interview. So let's support him.
I actually like that stream. I really, really enjoyed that stream. I watch every single stream, right? This is one that I actually saved, and I'm going to use it to show people that are not PulseChain natives, and kind of even to normies too, because that stream was really like the meat and potatoes of a lot of what's going on. And then I also like how there was like some IRL comparisons there, like comparing it to real estate and stuff like that. And then Prairie Banana made a really good point, like there's no overhead cost. You don't have to deal with tenants and stuff like that. And that's the type of language that really starts to hit home with people. Because even with me, like I was listening to it, and it even made me more bullish than what I already am, which is I didn't even know that was possible. But it's so true what Zen was saying. Like Pulse hasn't even run yet. You understand? So when Pulse starts to run, what truly happens? And when I start to really grasp that and think about it, bro, it completely blows my mind. So yeah, I enjoyed that stream very much. I'm going to be using it. I saved it. So yeah, you guys smashed it, bro.
Excellent. Thank you, Goo, for that feedback.
Let's go. What up? Oh, I actually, somebody mentioned the tsunami. I actually like that analogy. Because when you think about it, with a tsunami, what happens before a tsunami hits? It resides. What are we seeing now in crypto? Everybody's residing. So it first needs to get worse before it gets better. And then the wave starts growing like a bull run. And it just keeps on growing and keeps on growing. And every time when you think it can't go bigger or higher, it does. It's a pretty good analogy for a bull run, actually.
Hey, and then
you're welcome.
To answer your thing, Gugad, it was probably roughly, give or take, 40 million to 50 million PDI that's burnt, and then protocol owned from the beginning into the pTGC liquidity pool, around that number.
Okay, and then we got to 100 million from like the compounding of the pool and the fluctuations, right?
Yeah, like current ratio right now is like 30 million PDI to 244 million PGC, which is at 500,000, and then also about 7 million to 100. Yeah, 7 million PDI to about like 74 million PGC.
I mean, I'm good with that, bro, because there's nobody I know that has 30 million PDI, and there's no protocol that I know out there that gives you exposure to 30 million PDI. In my mind, that's $30 million. So,
yes, exactly.
I don't know where, Coach, I don't know where you pulled the numbers from, but I was kind of looking it up right now. And I see in this LP pool, there's 46 million PDI in the pTGC liquidity pool. I don't remember what we started with, but this is what's in there right now.
Yeah, I looked up at the start, and I had to try to add it all up, but in terms of the ratios, and I don't know exactly what wallets exactly burnt the liquidities and stuff like that, because I can't just remember offhand, but probably 3 wallets probably did that, so.
Yeah, but right now in total, it's roughly 46 million, and then with pTGC and then with UFO, it's 251 million PDI in there.
I have a question, guys. This is for anybody. Brad, whom interviewed us yesterday, referred to Dirty Crypto, and he said Dirty Crypto is a friend of PulseChain. And well, at least a friend of PulseChain. I'm like, okay, who is this guy? I couldn't find him on Twitter or YouTube. If anybody can drop me a link, either on my Twitter or Telegram or here on YouTube, tell me how to find this gentleman, Dirty Crypto, please. And then
Yeah, I've never heard of him either.
yeah, I hadn't. So I just want to see who he is. This might be another what do you call it? Another good connection. I would like to go over some stats. So I will do that. And then YN will answer your question after we go over these stats real quick. But I did my daily readings, okay, today, and I came across some stuff that was just rather exciting, mainly wallet counts. And I don't understand why the wallet counts come over in waves, but let's just have a look here. pTGC holders, and I get the holder count from, and I'm showing this on the screen. I get this from the PulseChain Explorer, scan my pinata. And yesterday, okay, usually we're adding about 9 or 20 or 30 new holders added. Yesterday, we added 342. So it's like it saves them up and then sends them all over every now and again. And then this morning, it was 285. So, but that makes for an average of 63 so far for the month of February. 63 per day, 63 new wallets. In January, we averaged 46. In December, we averaged 28. So I'm just taking a reading every day. I'm not saying that these are the actual counts, because Scan My Pinata is so, can I just say, undependable? But we're getting an average over a 30-day period. So I'm just going with it, man. It looks to me like we are absolutely increasing in wallet count, and not just by 1 or 2 per month, but like in not multiples, but close. And that was very exciting to me. Another thing that I noticed is that, and many of you guys have heard or seen how excited I am about the locking rewards. And I've been tracking that for.
Banana.
Go ahead, please. Yeah.
Before we move on past the holder counts, I want to see, and I'm just kind of putting this idea out there. I mean, you can work on it privately. If there's a way we can see what size position these new holders are getting when they enter.
There you go.
So, like how you said, we've gotten 300. It probably was a few days built up, and it randomly just populated over, like when the scan updated. But that's besides the point. What I want to know is, let's say we're getting 30 new holders a day right now. Well, what size positions are these 30 new holders getting? Like, are these like just market maker bots that are just doing a transaction, they get left with dump? Or are these people buying $1,000 bags, $500 bags? Is it a mix of both? Is it people buying $10,000 bags? Like, what type of new holders are we actually onboarding currently? Or even are some of them new holders?
That's a fair question.
Yeah, so maybe we can look into that, me and you privately, see if there's a way to figure that out. Because I would be interested to see, out of that 30 new holders, like, is it 10% like decent bag holders, or are they all small bag, or what are these type of people?
Or is it somebody sending one pTGC to a brand new wallet to make it look like we have a higher wallet count? You can't rule that out either.
100%.
Yeah, I would love to know that. But until then, I'm just rolling with it. We're adding a lot of new wallets, and it makes sense because this is an exciting ecosystem, and we are experiencing adoption. So yeah, I'm happy to review that and work on that with you. And Kong might be an asset for that also.
Yeah, I was gonna say Snowflake. Snowflake's added some pretty good holder count information to his Secreto Bank recently, to where he's like showing how many people hold, or how many wallets hold each like dollar value.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen that update that he put out recently.
I haven't. Let me flip over to there. And let's see. Look, do you know which tab it is at the top?
I don't, but I can look into it. Hold on. It's Secreto Bank.
Yeah. I'm glad he's building on it. That's cool. I think this is a new. I always just go to volumes or the Gray's profile picture. So let me just see if I can find what you're talking about. Yeah, I'll let you work on that. I'm going to highlight the unlocks, Zen, while you're looking for that. Okay, so we know that. Well, I've discovered from my experimental wallet that there was an average of 400 million pTGC emergency and locked on average every month.
Yeah, I think I found it. I think it's under top lookup. I don't know if there's a.
I don't see I don't see a top lookup option on my screen.
He sent me the link, but I never. He also sent me some pictures.
Okay.
That was interesting. Maybe I'll just forward you the picture. I don't think he would mind. Can you, if I sent you a picture on Telegram, are you able to bring it up on your screen or no?
No.
Okay.
I might be able to pull up Telegram.
You don't have to. I don't need you showing all your chats and stuff like that.
Sure.
We'll look into it after this, but he has main point. He's made some updates to Secreto Bank where it looks like he is gathering some information on holder counts and how much value they hold in their wallet. So he's like creating them into sections like, hey, this many people hold over $1 million. This many people hold between $1 million and $100,000. This many people hold between $1,000 and $100,000. So maybe we can actually see those numbers increasing daily. We would just have to take note of them, and that might be a good way to check.
Yep. Okay. I like that. Yes. If you would just send that over, I'd like to have a look at it. I'm glad he's building on this site. That's excellent. I like to see improvement. It's already good, but good can also be improved on. So 400 million pTGC was emergency unlocked last year, and that pays the lockers. And you can estimate how much you earned in pTGC. I've got it built into my little calculator. And what I've also done, Zen, is so I'm tracking how much is unlocked every day. And we go many days on end sometimes and no unlock. Not a big deal. It's almost like when you see an unlock, it's like Christmas. It's like, yeah, man. And what I've done is I've been able to backwards math and estimate how much, based on how much came into my wallet in emergency unlocks, how much was unlocked, which is really cool. So, and my curiosity is, is this trend of 400 million every month, is it continuing? So, and my hunch is that it's going to decrease, but let's see. I'm going to show you guys. We're in the middle. We're halfway through February. And I'm going to get a total of what I've estimated has been unlocked. And to date, it's 156 million. Just in the month of February, we're halfway through. So we're below average for a half month. But I'm curious to see what will happen the rest of the month. And we have no control over this. It's completely up to other lockers to early end lock their locks. And I'm not suggesting that anybody do this, but people will do it. They have done it. And it's exciting to think what could be unlocked because we get, the lockers get paid. And we're almost at that average of 400 million. But anyhow, I found that interesting this morning. And exciting for the future. YN Crypto asks, do you think RH is going to wait until the case is over before actually supporting a stablecoin in the ecosystem? Or is he going to let the market decide? Zen, do you want to answer that?
I honestly just think RH has a plan already written out or planned out, and he plans on doing that plan no matter what. And it just means we haven't hit the time schedule that is part of this plan that he's orchestrated yet. Yeah. Maybe it gets adjusted with different outcomes of the case and stuff like that, but It's really hard to say. I would just be guessing.
Yes. I did get some perspective about the case that you guys might find interesting. And it's that apparently in the legal world, a person in RH's situation, when they perhaps get some news about the case, they can start making changes in their life. And if you want to look at the changes on chain that RH has been doing as evidence of that, that's how I'm trying to put this. But a person can start making changes because they know the results, but the legal system is not allowing them to make the results public yet. And that may be what is happening. Possibly. I'm not saying that is, but it's a possibility. It's an exciting possibility.
Something I was thinking about with this as well, just to chime in, isn't the new SEC director, wasn't he part of the same law firm that is currently defending Richard Hart? Because wouldn't he have to recuse himself from that case as well? Because I know there's a bunch of hype about him getting put in place in the PulseChain community, but I believe he would have to recuse himself from that specific case.
I have no idea on that, man. All right, and don't suppose anybody in here would have an idea. Maybe that's something you can ask ChatGPT and get an answer. Before we go any further, God of the Gaps, thank you for the $10 super chat. I appreciate that. And you have a question, so let me ask this question. Basically, kudos. Keep up the good work. Found you through an interview with Charlie at Cultivate Crypto. Much respect. Yay, man. God of the Gaps. That's awesome. Yeah, we enjoyed our interview with Charlie at Cultivate Crypto. He's a pro, man, and he's a good guy. And he also, I think he's going to the Pulse conference. So I look forward to meeting him. And he was one of those interviews then where it seems like when people interview you about the Grays currencies, they really, I mean, I've never been on interviews about any other coin, but I mean, it's like they get excited. And they'll even say how excited they are. I mean, from Shill Gates.
Hey, Banana, I lost you for some reason. Is that the same for everyone else, or is that just me?
That's just you.
So he knows what to do. So from Shill Gates to Cultivate Crypto to Infinity Crypto, everybody just gets excited about the Grays currency. So that's cool. Really cool. Ariel says, I do feel more and more people have been coming to pTGC, as just me personally have brought close to 10 people and more are coming. Yeah, Ariel has been crushing it. Active in the chat, very positive, onboarding, and we appreciate you, Ariel, very much. YN Crypto says, go ahead.
That's one thing really interesting with like a growing community is like you can find one person and that one person can really change the path of the ecosystem. Just one person, right? Like you onboard just one person, that person, like Ariel, whoever onboarded Ariel, I don't know, but she just onboarded 10 people to where someone she onboarded, you know, not every single one will become like very, very passionate about the system. Like let's say Ariel did. But let's say 2 of that 10 become passionate and they really educate themselves on the system itself. Well, next thing you know, those 2 people might also be onboarding people as well. They might not just be holders. They could be becoming very educated and onboarding themselves as well.
Yeah. I had a conversation with a no-coiner yesterday. I mean, he didn't know anything about crypto, but he was curious. He's in the financial industry. So, yeah, I mean, people think that, crypto can be shut down. You got to go through all that. And what is crypto? Why does it even exist? What's its use case? And I think he'll be coming over to the Grays and PulseChain, because that's definitely where I'm going to steer him. That's where I spend most of my time.
I would like to announce that I did spread fake news. There's not apparently any connection between the SEC director and Richard Hart. I don't know where I read that.
Okay. Well, thanks for fact checking that. Yeah. Every time you hear something, or anytime you hear something, it deserves, especially if it's important, a fact checking. So good job.
Always trust but verify.
There you go. Exactly. Trust but verify. Who coined that phrase?
I don't know. I think I heard it from you.
Yeah, and I think it was the U.S. president that's noted for saying that. Ariel says the momentum is being built, getting bigger and bigger. RH, and I guess this is a quote from RH. You can't stop a movement when its time has come. Hexs says that Brad, who we interviewed yesterday, is sharper than most and grasped the genius tokenomics quickly. He has been in crypto, I want to say, for like 7 years. Do you remember what he told us yesterday? He's been in a while.
Yeah, I don't remember hearing him tell us that, so it might have happened before I was on or something, or I missed it.
Space Frog asks, how can I track the amount of reward payouts of pTGC and UFO coming into my wallet? I can't see any transactions for it in my wallet address. How does it work? Well, I'm assuming that you're holding these, so you're getting reflections. And those, correct me if I'm wrong, Zen, but those reflections aren't going to be reflected as a transaction in your wallet. They just appear, and you can see those if you go to pulsetgc.com, connect your wallet, you can see the count on the homepage. And I can just show you guys real quick. But isn't that correct, Zen? They just show up, right, in your wallet.
Yeah, it's a different type of transaction. I think it's called an internal transaction instead of a transaction. But the best way, I believe, to see it is go to the staking page. And when you are connected via your wallet, you'll be able to see everything that you've earned from holding, everything that you've earned from staking, and everything that you've earned by locking.
Yep.
I just realized I turned on my coffee Keurig pot and didn't even put the cup underneath.
Oh no! Well, you're streaming. that can happen. So yeah, Space Frog. This is where you go. Go to pulsetgc.com and you'll see this number right here, like this. If you're staked, you'll see this number deflect. And if you're only holding, then you will see this number here increase. That 123.69. If I come back in 10 minutes, it will be more. That's how it works, man. And for UFO, same thing. Only let's show UFO. Yeah, you click on PLP rewards and you're going to see your earned reflections here in the upper right. Same thing. Come back in 10 minutes and it will probably increase in 10 minutes time. Yeah, I hope that helps. Oh, I have a question for you, Zen. I have a couple questions. Just got to find them. Somebody asked me this the other day, and I didn't know how to answer it. But they asked, is UFO a leverage play on pTGC? And I almost don't think so. But I wanted to get your perspective. Zan, are you there? Maybe he's making his coffee. All right, you're muted. What do you guys think?
Coach.
You're breaking up, Zen.
Zen's going to give a much deeper insight to this once he figures out his issue, but I would probably say no at a forefront, only because it is LP bonded, yes, but very heavily, which means it's going to kind of be following lockstep. But the other thing you got to remember is 1% of the fees that it's generating through token taxes is used to buy back and burn pTGC, which kind of eliminates it from being, an exponential on top of pTGC because it is enhancing it so much.
There you go. Yeah.
That's my opinion. Zen might give a more formal opinion.
Yeah, thanks for that, Nick.
Can you hear me, Banana? Or am I...
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah. So one thing that I think a lot of people don't pay attention to is they love using the word that it's a leverage play on, but they don't really even understand what that is. What happens with crypto and LP pools is everything is bonded, and then they operate off of reflexivity. So let's say we were bonded, UFO and pTGC were just bonded together, and pTGC goes up 2x. Well, then automatically UFO gets dragged up 2x. But if a portion of that value goes from pTGC into UFO, that's what makes UFO outperform pTGC. Or if external value also goes into UFO but not pTGC, that's what makes UFO outperform pTGC. So what it actually is reflexivity, and this works in both directions, right? So let's just use the example of pTGC to PLS. If pTGC and PLS were no external factors being played in, they're just bonded together, PLS moves up 2x, pTGC would move up 2x automatically. Well, now if a portion of the value that moved up PLS trickles down to pTGC, that would then do an X multiplier, reflexivity of pTGC against PLS, making it so pTGC outperforms PLS. This is how LP pools function. And a lot of people like to call this a leverage play, but really it's not really a leverage play. It's reflexivity working in these liquidity pools. The system also works in the opposite direction. And this is normally what you see because 99% of cryptos aren't better stores of value than the blockchain. So when the blockchain moves up, they slowly start to go back into the blockchain. So you'll see when the ratio goes up with PLS to pTGC, value will actually trickle out of, I don't want to use pTGC, but out of the asset that is connected back into the blockchain, making it the opposite of a leverage. It's like a deleverage, right? So you're actually making less X's. But in our system with UFO, with pTGC, due to the mechanics behind it actually being designed to continuously outperform the things they're connected to via buy and burns, via stores of value because of built-in APY into the code, it helps them actually make it to where when the things they're connected to go up, they actually hold that value, and then partial amounts of the value trickle down to these assets. This is how I believe RH is going to pump his alt tokens like Hex, and he's made very lengthy tweets about this. He calls it reflexivity, but I think our system is going to operate as well in the same manner. But as far as UFO to pTGC being a leverage play, I just don't think that's the right wordage for it. There is a chance that it has reflexivity in that ability. Like if people are selling their pTGC into UFO, well then, yeah, it will start going up against UFO. The same thing could work in the opposite direction. People could sell their UFO into pTGC. We see it happening in both directions all the time, just depending on what fits a unique individual's needs.
There you go, man. That's a good answer. I like that. Zen, what is the pair that is referenced on the stats page on PulseTGC.com for the liquidity pool? I thought that was the pTGC PLS pair.
Are you talking about the distribution pie chart?
Yes.
I believe it's a couple of the main pairs, and I don't believe it holds all of them even close, because since that was made, we've added and grown the pairs.
Okay.
I'm working on getting an updated distribution chart that encapsulates every single pair that we currently have. so it's a more accurate number. I think we came up with the number a couple days ago, and I forget what it is now. I'd be spitballing, but yeah, it's
Yeah, I remember.
I believe that's a couple pairs. It's just not grabbing all of them right now due to pairs being added and stuff like that. So we are working on an updated distribution chart that shows the exact, or pretty close to the exact number.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that'll be nice to have. Right on.
Hey guys, Shaka just put a tweet in the chat from Richard Hart. He's saying that he's basically endorsing pTGC and UFO. I haven't read the tweet yet, but it's be fun to look at real quick.
Yeah, let's do it. Thank you for.
I'm reading right now. I'll put it up in the Jumbotron right now.
Okay, I'll go ahead and read it.
It's up there right now.
Okay. So this is Richard Hart. Bitcoin, Ethereum, and crypto prices in general rise and fall together because they're bonded by the liquidity in their order books. It's called Hart's Law. Yes, I discovered it. So what does that mean in practice? It means that if you make things more rare, lower inflation, reduce inflation, and demand stays the same, prices will go up. Prices, plural. Why plural? Because of Hart's Law. You can do a combo on it too. PulseX only becomes more rare and its liquidity primarily in Pulse, which also reduces in total supply. The rarity compounds with the other rarity to lead to even higher prices if demand stays the same. Demand has gone up and down quite a lot. Then you combine that with the X times Y equals K AMM price curve, which moves as a square. Every 2X's in bid side liquidity, 4X is the price. What you have is a beautiful system primed for excellence. The only thing you're missing is eyeballs, demand. Reducing supply through burning is one part of a supply and demand equation. Demand is the other part. So the too long to read, reducing inflation or becoming deflationary through burning increases, price increases on demand increases. And since the prices of many things are tied to prices of many other things, the more rare all of things tied together become, the easier it is for price to go up. And here's the too long to read. Burning coins is cool. Reducing inflation is cool. Yeah. I don't know whether we got it from him or he got it from us. But that's a good tweet. I'm going to repost it.
Sounds like a symbiotic relationship, if you ask me.
Sure.
Checkmate.
Needle in the haystack. The golden goose of crypto.
Yeah, there's one thing that's really interesting about this is the fact that on PulseChain, we're not only operating with like one really good, thought out, legitimate, sustainable project. We have like a group of them, right? And this group of them is working together, and they're going to be dragging each other up, and they're going to be working together, obviously growing in value, becoming a very, very strong team. And by working together, like Deflationary project LP'd with other deflationary projects on a blockchain that doesn't get sold by its founder, that's more deflationary than what it's forked of. The fact that it's brand new and at the beginning of its S-curve, this situation that we're talking about has actually never really been done before in crypto. So what is that going to equal for price performance? Well, we've seen in crypto doesn't have a problem of price performance with good sustainable assets. There's tons of exits. But what happens when you factor in these supply modifications that constantly decrease the supply with volume, volatility, and then you have these LP'd with each other having them work together as a team instead of a singular asset? It starts to really like blow your mind, and you start to think like, well, the limits of the amount of X's these things can go, like pTGC, UFO, PulseX, PulseChain, are pretty high up there. Like, compared to the rest of crypto, we are set up with some of the best supply controlled situations, along with the best demand controlled situations that exist today. So I believe that's a lot what Richard Hart's talking about there, that as far as controlling supply and demand, we kind of are set up better than anything else that exists, and everything else that exists that has had legitimate success is up hundreds of X's, and we're currently up 0 X's on PulseChain and PulseX, or a little bit from the bottom, but you guys get what I mean.
Yes. Yep, totally.
Another thing that you touched base on yesterday that really stood out to me is that nobody knows about PulseChain. And if you go and you look at Watcher Guru's tweet he put out today, only 7% of the world's population is in crypto.
Mm-hmm.
That's nothing, bro. That's absolutely nothing. So, imagine, like Zen said, nobody knows about PulseChain, bro. Imagine when they start learning about what's going on here, bro.
That's a fair point. I think last cycle there was only 3% of the world's population in crypto. So it sounds like it has improved.
So one thing that inflation is good for is, as the population grows that is utilizing that asset, for an example, like inflation with the fiat, like our population's constantly growing and increasing. Maybe it's actually not decreasing or increasing rapidly right now because not that many people are having kids anymore. But when you have inflation with that's mixed in with an adoption curve that's increasing, what that does is that helps the price not get to crazy numbers in a short amount of time. That's ultimately why inflation is good. It keeps that price stable while adoption is coming in to make sure that the adoption doesn't increase the price too much. And it's kind of funny that we would use that in crypto because obviously the goal, a lot of reason people are in crypto is for price appreciation. And that's one thing that I think is going to be unique about pTGC and UFO is that we aren't inflating as adoption is coming in, we are actually deflating. And as adoption comes in and we deflate the supply, that's going to push the price up, I believe, more than really anyone's ever seen before. Because there isn't more supply to get at. It's a constantly shrinking supply, making the asset very scarce, but the quantity of users finding out about that asset constantly increasing. So this goes to like most assets that are out there. For an example, gold. Gold is a very, very scarce asset. Diamond is a very, very scarce asset. That's why a lot of people store value in it. But technically, it's inflationary. They're mining more of it all day, every day. Could you imagine if gold had a decreasing supply, there was no more in the earth, and it was actually disappearing constantly? Well, the value of the asset would be way more, is the truth. Like a lot more.
Ariel asks a question. What are the factors to consider when someone deciding whether to stake the yields to compound or not, and how often to claim the yield and restake? The factors to consider, let me just take a shot at this, are your time, because it does take you some time. It takes gas, and we've seen some increase in gas on the network with the increase in activity. And then you got to consider how often should I claim my yield and add it to my principal so I can make that yield start working for me along with my principal, right? Which is a great idea. It's the power of compound interest. But from what I have done, like when I first got in, I was compounding every day, and but I was questioning whether that was actually effective. So I built a little calculator and I was like, yes, that's not effective. Unless you get a large wave of yield into your wallet. What I do is when I get a large wave, I'll compound it or once a week, about once a week. And I found that any more frequent than once a week really just was not adding to my position by the end of even a year's time. Do you have any comments on that, Zen?
Yeah, if you plan on holding for longer than a few months, I think it's worth considering compounding it into the stakes, because you do have that 1% in and out on those stakes.
Yes.
So if you have a longer term time horizon, I do think it makes sense to get it into that stake if you're someone who cares about like the APY aspect of the system. If you're someone who's specifically in the system for the X's and you're just looking at it as far as like a short-term mindset, like, hey, I'm going to get into this asset, I want to make a quick 10x and I want to get out, it might not make the most sense for you to get into the staking, because if you get that 10x in a shorter amount of time, you know, you're not going to make what it costs to go in and out of that stake in APY. So just pay attention to that kind of stuff when staking. I actually was on this topic running some numbers because 2 nights ago someone asked me what it would take to make $100 of passive in the Graze ecosystem. So I started using Kong's website to simulate some of these numbers and what it would really take. And it was actually kind of interesting what I found out as far as APY goes. If you want to hear.
Yes, please.
So based on dollar amount that you have, we're obviously all like, we don't have unlimited amounts of value to put into something, but we're still kind of asking ourselves, well, what is the best bang I'm going to get for the buck? And I think the question is, you can't determine the amount of X's either pTGC or UFO are going to do, because we really don't know how successful these assets are going to be. We don't know how successful PulseChain is going to be. We have ideas and we have predictions, but you know, if it was written in stone, obviously a lot more people would be holding it, right? There is some speculation these things can go to zero. They can also do thousands of X's. So, but one thing I was trying to calculate is if someone does have like a dollar number in mind, if they're a really long-term thinker, like they care about the passive yield of this system and they plan on using it this way, how are some ways that we can make it to where a user can get $100 a day in passive yield, right? And what would that take? As far as token quantity, like the amount of tokens that they would have to earn, and based on daily volume, right? So like as time goes on, we can make predictions that volume is going to increase, which it has been increasing as time has gone on. And I think with the successful PulseChain, time volume will increase as well. But also you can increase your token quantity, right? Because as a user, the more you increase your token quantity, the more percentage of that APY you're going to receive, meaning you need less volume to hit that $100 goal, right? An easy example of this is if you're looking to make $1,000 a month off of passive income properties, but the property you own only pays you $250 a month in profits after you pay mortgage and all this kind of stuff, well, you're going to need 4, right? You need now 4 to hit your $1,000 a month goal. So you have to up the quantity because the value of the monthly payment isn't increasing at the rate that you need. So you have to increase the quantity of the units to hit your goals. So with UFO or pTGC, you have 2 options. You can naturally wait for the volume to pick up on chain due to our ecosystem growing, due to the community and natural volume increasing, or you can wait for the mechanical volume due to our liquidity web to increase and the chain's volume to naturally increase as well. Or you can do both, right? You can slowly be increasing your back size and be waiting for the volume to increase as well. And then once the machine actually starts running, once the engine is fully turned on, we're put into first gear and we're running, you kind of have the position that you're looking for and you're closer to your goal. So what I found actually was, even though pTGC, if you're staked and locked, you're technically making 2% plus locking fees on every transaction, your portion of that, to where if you're just holding UFO, you're only making 1%, right? So it feels like you're making, if you're an APY person, pTGC might be the better option because it's 2% on every transaction instead of 1%. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Based on volume, like let's say for this example, volume is completely even. But what I actually found is, due to the fact that the majority of people are LPing with UFO currently, and this is no guarantee of the future, you're actually sharing that 1% with a lot less people.
Yep.
With UFO. And the main thing to keep in mind is, with UFO, you can get a portion of the supply for a lot less value. And the portion of the supply is your portion of the APY, if that makes sense. So this is a very big number, but it's an easy number to work with. Let's say you wanted 1% of the supply with UFO. So that's going to be 1% of the rewards, right? If you're a whale, you're going to get 1% of the APY in either asset. But to get 1% of the supply of pTGC is going to cost you like 3 to 4 times the amount of value. So you kind of have to ask yourself is, if they do the same amount of value, I'm an APY guy. I care about the APY. I don't care about the X's or cashing out this cycle. I'm building this position to be a passive income stream. I can actually get that passive income stream with UFO for a cheaper price. And I just wanted to bring this to everyone's attention to show them that if in APY terms, and if you care about that, it looks like UFO is at a discount currently, because what it's showing is, to get the same amount of APY in either system, it costs roughly half the amount of value with UFO currently, if volume's the same between the two assets.
Okay. All right.
We see naturally pTGC has more volume because there's more natural human interaction. But on days that have lack of natural human interaction and are more mechanically volume driven, UFO actually has more volume due to the liquidity web being bigger. So again, there is no guarantee which one will have more volume in the future. I'm just trying to provide facts to people for them to make their own decision. But if you are an APY person, I do believe UFO might be good to look into, because it does feel like you're getting less because it's only 1% on every transaction instead of 2%. But currently, for dollar amount entered, so if you're looking at like ROI numbers and stuff like that, like what you put in to what you're getting out, UFO currently on APY is the better deal.
Okay, cool. Crypto Kindness asks, is the 1% fee to unstake a fee on the entire amount staked, or just the yield earned? And I think it's both, isn't it? Isn't that right?
No, it's neither technically. So the fee is on what you're unstaking, and you don't have to unstake the entire bag. So
right.
On pTGC, if you stake, you can unstake 20% of your bag if you want, and you pay the 1% on that 20%. You don't pay it on the rest of the bag until you unstake the rest of the bag if you unstake it.
So that would be the principal, right?
Yeah, the principal, if you decide to take out the principal.
Yeah.
On pTGC, on your claims, like what you claim, you're not going to be taxed to 1% on that, because you're just claiming it straight to your wallet. If you then go and stake that and then unstake it again, of course you're going to pay on that, because you decide to stake it and unstake it. But if you're just claiming it to your wallet, there is no 1% paid on that claim.
Okay. Thank you for that answer. So when we know that when we end a stake, we pay a 1% fee, which goes to all the other stakers. And, you get that back. You'll probably earn that back, all depending on volume and price appreciation in, short order, maybe a month or two. But if you're a long-term thinker, in my opinion, staking that's what I've done. That's what I've been doing. But do we pay 1% going into a stake or just out of?
Just out of.
Okay. Excellent. pTGC Maxi has a really good illustration. He says, I look at pTGC as like your piece of the pie gets larger and the pan gets smaller. And that's a good illustration. I like that. And that's exactly how it works. As you hold your principal, the golden goose that is producing golden eggs, because the supply of pTGC is deflating or decreasing, and you hold, therefore your portion relative to the overall supply is inflating. And it's a beautiful system. So, and what that means is also that as you hold, your position increases, your golden goose is laying you larger golden eggs over time. YN Crypto says, do you think we will see heavy increase in percent of crypto users this year due to governments, big banking, and other entities? Example, 7% of the population going to 14 to 15%. Yeah, I don't know. I think now is a great time for entry into crypto, because I think the time when you jump into an Uber and the guy turns around and starts talking to you about crypto is coming. I don't know that it's here yet, but that would not be the time to be entering crypto, is when the rest of the world is talking about. But what are your thoughts on overall crypto adoption, Zen?
I think it's obviously getting pushed in the direction of they want everyone to adopt crypto. The president is obviously advocating buying huge lump sums of ETH. We have ETFs for Ethereum and Bitcoin, so a lot of users, by just participating in their standard banking, can now also participate in crypto without even really knowing about it. I don't think we're going completely in the direction to where, everyone, like the majority of the population, technically are going to be on blockchain and DeFi and interacting with Uniswap or PulseX and stuff like that. I don't think that even the most majority amount of people should be doing that, because they'd ultimately most likely lose all their money. But as far as like everyone having some sort of a foot dipped in the pond of crypto, I think we're heading in that direction. It's just going to be put into their portfolio in a way to where they're not necessarily as involved as we may think.
Sure. Yeah, I'm excited to be this side of the bull run, because I bought the top of the last one. YN Crypto says the trickle down from BTC and Ethereum seems like it's just going to be crazy this bull run because of all this big money trying to get in on the ground floor. I think I saw that this week there have been I want to say like 600,000 Ethereum bought up off the market by, whoever it is. Obviously people with deep pockets, but it looks to me like people are getting ready, like institutions perhaps are getting ready for a bull run by buying up Ethereum. But I did want to mention that Bitcoin right now is still below 100,000. It's at 97.5. Ethereum is at $2,700. So, I mean, what I heard a few weeks ago about Q1 being a little slow, it's playing out. It is. Adi Willow says the best time to enter crypto was yesterday. Yeah, true statement. Is there any other news that we need to cover, Zen?
I did find it interesting that RH restaked his hex stakes for another 30 days, and I
Yes.
also saw that he burned a good chunk of eHex, which I found interesting.
He burned it. How did he burn it? Just send it to a dead address?
I believe he just sent it to a dead address.
Wow.
I didn't verify it, but this is what I read.
Okay. That tells me.
I did bring up someone right now too, Matt. If you have any questions or conversations, feel free to speak up.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, I hear you. How you doing?
All right. Thanks, guys. Hey, a couple things. I'm a huge fan of pTGC. I don't know if you've seen me on Twitter or X at all, but I'm the blind guy that put in $300 a few months ago, and it's worth $20,000 right now.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm very thankful. And I'm telling everybody. So I have a couple questions. The first question I have is, I've never staked it. I've never connected my wallet to the website. Do I have any reflections like built up there, or have I kind of missed out on that? And if so, that's fine. So that's my first question.
So you are, just as a holder, earning reflections, and it's going to automatically drip into your wallet. But if you do decide to go a step further and you want to stake, you will earn 160% roughly more rewards. So what you're earning today in just reflections, if you go a step further and stake, you earn roughly 160% more than what you're earning for just holding. But you are earning for just holding as well if you don't feel comfortable connecting to the DApp or anything like that.
Okay. So what I hear you saying is stake it.
If you're a long-term player, because there is a 1% fee when you unstake. You can unstake at any time. There's no time locks or anything. There's just a 1% fee. So you just have to make sure that, or you don't have to make sure, but my suggestion is, if you're a long-term person and you care about more of the APY aspect of this protocol instead of just the quick X's, it does make sense to stake it, yeah.
Brother, I'm a blind guy. I was on Social Security. I threw $300 of Uncle Sam's money in it because the crypto kings convinced me to do it, and I did it. So I'm in it for the long haul. I'm gonna rock this thing till it goes up to $5 or $10. I don't know what it's gonna go to, but I'm just thankful. So I'm gonna stake it. So here's my second question. My second question is that I'm blind and that I use a screen reader to do all my stuff. I can develop software. I'm learning how to do it. And I've been on the pTGC website, but I'm curious to see if the whole staking function and that whole process is going to be accessible with a screen reader. You may not have any familiarity with that. Maybe you do. I don't know. But I'm just curious on any kind of feedback on that.
I'll be straight honest with you. I have no idea anything about it.
Okay.
And I apologize for that, but yeah, I'm just not familiar with any of that, to be honest.
Yeah,
okay. So I'm going to follow you guys, and I'm just going to go ahead and try to go through the process and do it, and then kind of give you guys some feedback. So here's my third question. If it doesn't work with a screen reader to make it for its accessibility, would you guys be willing to update the website and all that other stuff to make sure that it is accessible?
Yeah.
You wouldn't have to change anything with the contract, I'm sure. I'm sure it would just be
do
with the website and everything else.
Yeah, the contract won't change. So that's for sure. But yeah, we can look into, we are working on a few modifications, not to the existing website, but on somewhat of a new website just as a upgrade. But it's not coming out for a little bit, but I can look into getting something like that added to it.
Yep.
And I would have to honestly just do some research and see what that takes, because I've honestly never even looked into it or known about it, to be honest.
Yeah. If you want to partner together, you don't have to pay me or anything. I'm trying to bring as many blind people in as possible, and others as well. So that's why it's really important. If we can make sure it's accessible for sure, then it'll just be easier for everybody. So
yeah, it might be even something that we could make, because anyone can create a dApp, right? There doesn't have to be just one dApp. Anyone could create a front end to interact with the code on the blockchain. So maybe it's as simple as, we just make a separate URL that has a dApp that's obviously made to where it can be used with a screen reader, to where we don't have to change anything with our current dApps, but we just make an additional one for the community that you're trying to put together, right?
if it's not accessible, I don't know.
Yeah,
but you guys may have just built it in a way to where it is accessible. I don't know. But I figured while I had your ear, I'd just go ahead and say, hey, if it's not, then maybe we can work together and I can test it on there. Whatever we need to do to make sure it works.
Yeah, my suggestion, if you're doing testing, maybe, and there is a fee to send to another wallet, but maybe it's worth sending a portion of your portfolio to another wallet for when you're testing.
Okay, sure.
What's the term that you used, Matt? Is it called blind readable? What's that term you used?
Oh, a screen reader?
A screen reader, right. Okay.
Yeah, and what a screen reader is, just so that everyone is aware, it's a piece of software that runs on your device. So iPhone, iPad, they use. Apple has its own called VoiceOver. Windows, you can buy a third-party JAWS. A lot of people use NVDA, which is free, open source, downloadable. So even in your own stuff, you can kind of get do your own little testing. NVDA is free and easy to download. So that's what I use to develop software. But if that whole process is accessible, it's just a no-brainer to be able to bring. And here's the reality. Like, I'm a blind guy, man. I'm coming in here and making so much money. I'm giving Uncle Sam back his checks, so if I can do it, then everybody else can. And so I didn't realize I could be an influencer, but I'm about to rock it.
There you go.
I'm a huge fan of what you guys are doing. Just FYI, I was lucky enough to get in it at the beginning, and yeah, man, everyone's sleeping on it. pTGC to the moon, baby.
You're correct. A good friend of mine is completely blind, and I've spent some time around him. And yeah, he uses a smartphone, he uses a computer. He just uses them in different ways,
Yeah. Yeah, well, MetaMask is easy to use, and I'm in the process of developing a website to try to make it to be able to do TA with the screen reader. And so we're working on building a community, not just because we want to, make it a place for blind people, but the world's changing, technology is changing, blockchain technology is advancing, and if someone doesn't get involved with blind folks, we're just going to be left behind. So that's why accessibility is very important. So for you guys to be aware of that and to keep that in mind is super dope.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. And which brings to mind, like my buddy, I don't know where he gets his income, but he got a house, man, and he renovated and built it. He's always running around digging a well, putting in radiant floor heating. He's a busy guy, completely blind, but he apparently he's got some money. And he and I have talked about crypto, but he's just not. He's not into it. So not every blind person is taking a check from the government, which means, and even in your case, I guess you even have some that you can put into some speculative assets, which worked out. So
yeah, I've got I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I got 3 master's degrees. I'm doing a PhD in Israel right now. So I'm with the education. And for blind folks, they just don't know, man. They don't know that they can do it. And just yesterday, I got a blind kid from India brought on. So as people find out and they realize, hey, if other blind people can do it, I can do it too. It's just a no-brainer, bro. It's just a matter of time before people just start aping in. So yeah, yeah. I'm excited and I appreciate it. I don't want to take up a bunch of your time, but I'll follow you guys, and then we'll just stay in touch and work on it. I'll let you know how it goes.
Sounds good, man. I gave you a follow from my
All right,
account.
All right, bro. You guys take care.
You too, man.
Hey,
Okay.
Matt.
Sure.
I don't know if you follow me on my personal. A lot of the time I'm on there. So if you ever need to reach me, do you have my personal Twitter as well?
I'm not sure.
It's I don't know if it's easy for you to find, but it's the Gray 369.
Okay. Yeah, I'll find it.
And I'll look for you too.
All right. I appreciate it, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Who else wants to come up and make some comments? Or if you have questions.
Yeah, I know you were talking about something banana before. I just wanted to get to the person coming up because I'm always thankful when people come up. So,
yeah.
do you remember what you were talking about?
I think we were talking about
What was it?
Bitcoin and Ethereum. That's where we went, I think, with the, just a few minutes ago. Yeah, I don't think I was on anything other than that, Zen. There are no questions on YouTube.
Okay, yeah. So, guys, we've been going for an hour and a half. I'm just going to kind of give that last call. So, if you do have a question or comment, go a little bit longer. But if you want to come out, feel free to raise your hand up. If you have a question, you do want to come up, feel free to make queries, comments of YouTube.
Yeah. And so I actually, guys, on YouTube, I have Matt Yater pulled up, the blind guy. Give him a follow and follow me too. I'm literally about 60 followers away from 2,000. So, and yes, I'm going to use this platform to drive traffic to my Twitter. Why? Because I am influencing people for the Gray's currencies. So if you don't follow me, please do. And I will follow you back. And if I don't follow you back, PM me and I will follow you back. Same on YouTube. Subscribe to my YouTube, please. And I wouldn't ask you to do that if I wasn't plugging the Gray's currencies day in and day out. Which seems to be working. Let's see, what else do we need to talk about before we shut it down? I think everything's going great, Zen. I think we're crushing it. One green candle at a time, one day at a time. I think everything's just going the way it's supposed to. Prairie Banana, and I think you feel the same way, Zen, are very bullish on pTGC and UFO. We just got to put in the time. And if we get impatient, then we got to go organize the proverbial garage,
Yeah, I think it's about just educating everyone, and that currently I think is currently as well. ETH still sitting in this zone that it's been at for a while now. I think for a second you were even showing this. Did you put that in the Jumbotron?
No, I didn't.
My tweet. Okay, someone did.
I did.
Slade's image that he created. Oh, thank you, Coach. Yeah, I think this matches the conversation really well. Kind of look at it in this image where everything, as far as like the mainstream crypto goes, Bitcoin, Solana, Ethereum, and how those are performing so well this market cycle compared to us. And if you compare it to us, we've obviously been outperforming due to our mechanics and our size and our community growing. And it's good to see those assets, the main blue fit of crypto, finally to start to move this cycle. Because what that should do is amplify our participation for not only us as tokens, but also the RH tokens as well.
Yeah. So the video that we were on yesterday with Brad had like 585 views or something like that. This morning it's up to 628. So and it'll get viewed. He usually gets 1,000+ views, and each one of those viewers is being exposed to PulseChain and the Grays currencies, which is awesome. And I did want to make a comment about like pTGC pulled back a little bit and UFO in the last couple of days. Always go look at Pulse. I do, and I can guess what happens when I see the Grays currencies pulling back a little bit. It's because the PulseChain has pulled back a little bit. It's literally below. It's more than 50% below SAC price right now. PulseChain is. But what's going to happen when it goes above SAC price? At a 2x, a 5, a 10, 50x. It's anyone's guess what's going to happen to the Grays currencies. Landscraper asks, maybe this can be a final question. What was the answer to how much do you have to hold to make $100 a week?
Yes. So let me pull it up real quick. So I gave 3 examples for each token. So because the volume can change and your token quantity can change, but what I provided was, I'll start with UFO. So at $10 million of daily volume, you can have 0.05% of the supply, and you'll be earning roughly $100 a day. So again, that's at $10 million of daily volume. If you own 0.05% of supply, that would be roughly $100 a day. At $5 million in daily volume, so half the amount of daily volume, you would need 0.1% of the supply to earn roughly $100 a day. And currently, right now, that's roughly $70,000 for that portion of the supply of UFO. Now, for 1 million, at 1 million daily volume, you would need 0.5% of the supply. 0.5% of the supply. That's UFO.
Which is 5 shark positions.
Now, which is 5 shark positions, correct. For pTGC, at $10 million of daily volume, you would need 0.02% of the supply. At $5 million of daily volume, you would need 0.04% of the supply. And at $1 million of daily volume, you would need 0.2% of the supply. 2 sharp positions for that last one.
Thank you for that. There you go, Landscraper. All right, man. You going to play pickleball today?
I am. I'm going to play some pickleball.
Right on. Do you have a Grays? Do you have a pTGC sticker on your pickleball paddle?
I do not. I saw you do, though.
Yes. You need one.
I don't even have a pTGC sticker.
You need one. I can send you. I bought a roll. I have some on my desk, guys. I got them right here. So, but if you give me your address, I'll send you some, man. You need to put stickers on your pickleball paddle.
I think on my car would be more likely, but
sure.
I don't want to mess with my playability putting a sticker on the face.
Oh yeah. My wife made that comment. Isn't that going to change the reaction on the ball? Like, maybe.
It definitely does, bro.
It's going to make it better. It's going to give my paddle alien tech.
No, but I know what you're talking about. I see some good players actually throw stickers right there, but I'm not doing that. But I throw it on the car something like that.
There you go.
Yeah, well, yeah, if no one has any questions or comments, I'm ready to shut it down and get started with my day.
Sounds good, man.
All right. Yeah, see you guys. Thanks for coming up. To everyone who did come up, anyone who put comments into Prairie's chat on YouTube, thank you for coming or just putting your questions there as well. A lot of people, if you don't feel comfortable with coming up, but you do have questions, feel free to just go to Banana's YouTube and ask questions in the comments, and Banana will obviously bring them up and we'll get to them. So on the next one, if you didn't get to it today, feel free to do that on the next one. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Zen. And I'm leaving. I'm out. And also follow him. Follow Pulse. No, the Grays 369. Follow him, and then the main account, which is PulseTGC, I think. So there are like 2 Twitter accounts. There's his account, his personal one, and then the Grays account. So you should follow both of them. And you might just have to look them up. I think they both have the gold pTGC logo. So, well, that's a wrap, guys. Thanks for jumping in. And may you all have a great weekend. Adios.